And we're starting off today's conference strong with not one, but two speakers, kicking off Quality Forge 2025. We'll be joined by Joe Walker and Luke McMahon from Canva. Our first speaker from this duo is Joe, who is a QA manager at Canva with over a decade of testing experience. His recent work has seen him diving into AI applications in QA and empowering the Canva team to harness AI and democratize QA practices.
And joining Joe this morning, we have Luke McMahon. Luke is a senior QA at Canva and is passionate about redefining quality in the era of AI. At Canva, he focuses on building the tools and processes that help make their teams test smarter, including an AI-integrated collaborative testing tool that makes organizing, running, and triaging test parties easier, even for those without dedicated QA capacity. Today, this duo will be talking about quality assistance in the AI era. I'm very excited to have them here with us today.
Yeah, I mean, Canva is probably one of your most favorite apps.
It really is. In the marketing team, we use Canva quite a lot. It helps us come up with ideas and sketches and everything we need when we're really planning those materials. And it's not just us, design teams all over the world really rely on Canva. It's one of the go-to tools we have out there. So without further ado, let's welcome our first speakers of the day, Luke and Joe. Hello, Luke and Joe. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, Luke and Joe.
Thank you for that welcome.
Thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you, but without further ado, please take the stage and let us know about quality assistance in the AI era.
Absolutely. So yeah, we'll take you through quality assistance in the AI era from our Canva perspective. So we'll cover a little more of who we are, how Canva has encouraged AI usage and how we do QA. And then we'll have a look at some different AI and QA areas before thinking about what our future may be in this exciting new age. For those not familiar, Canva is a visual communication platform, and our mission is to empower the world to design. Today, there's more than 260 million people around the world using our platform every month, and our community has generated over 30 billion designs to date, which is just staggering. We do software at scale. So I'm Joe, I'm a QA manager in Ecosystem, and that's the group that looks after Canva's integrations like those with ChatGPT. My recent focus has been on sort of driving our internal AI adoption in the QA team with a little bit of vibe engineering on the side to explore quality solutions and learn how all the AI magic works. And then Luke can introduce himself.
I'm Luke. I'm a senior QA in our generative AI supergroup here at Canva. I'm also a QA lead behind Canva AI, the product. I've been directly empowering teams with and without QA capacity through AI solutions built around our QA practices.
Cool. So Canva follows the quality assistance model. Our QA team is spread throughout the engineering groups, and we focus on empowering those teams to build and deliver high quality features to give our users the world-class experience they expect. And quality is a shared responsibility at Canva. Our teams should feel empowered to release without QA sign-off, and many of them don't have a dedicated QA engineer embedded with them. We also provide assistance on demand and manage some self-serve quality guidance for all teams to use. So Canva has made a conscious decision to really embrace this new wave of LLM-powered AI capabilities, and it's had a huge impact on how we work internally and the features that we deliver to our users. A little over a year ago, Canva announced the AI Everywhere initiative to staff, and this was a program to encourage AI learning and usage across the business, regardless of your role or team. And by setting this direction for the whole company, we've been able to streamline our processes so we can onboard new AI tools very quickly, access models from almost all providers, and allow teams to continually experiment with what works best for them and the challenges they face. And of course, while doing all of this in safe environments where we can minimize the danger of unleashing all these powerful new tools on our code base and data. This doesn't usually involve strapping a rocket to a chair, as in that middle image, but this is more fun than a presentation full of IDE and terminal screenshots, so just bear with us. So our existing culture of exploration and knowledge has been dialed up to 11 with AI, and almost every day an interesting new way of using AI to help change how we work for the better is found and shared. We have internal events like an AI Discovery and Hackathon Week, and that's been fantastic for giving Canvanauts the space we need to learn what these tools can do. And that's now a regular occurrence at a smaller scale throughout the business. So the value in upskilling and using AI isn't in question at Canva. It's the way we need to work going forward. And this is now reflected in our developer interviews, which include an AI skills assessment section. And QA is no exception to any of this. We have been exploring and learning along with everyone else, and we've put careful thought into forming cross-team working groups to investigate applying AI solutions to quality problems or exploring completely new ways that we can provide quality assistance to our engineering teams. Due to all of the learning and familiarity and the general rise in capabilities, especially over the last year, our launch rate of AI features has absolutely taken off. And this includes wholly new AI features like Canva AI, which Luke was a QA lead on, that can help users generate images or even entire designs. We have Canva Code, which is sort of our built-in vibe coding tool. Fantastic, well worth a play if you haven't. Or the Canva MCP server, which lets you work with your Canva designs from your MCP client of choice, like Claude or ChatGPT. There's also a whole lot of AI enhancements to our existing features. So we have things like Magic Insights to help you with your sheets, or the very recently launched Ask Canva. And that's like an AI assistant right there in the design there with you. This feature rollout is only speeding up and spreading to more and more teams. And that's again, as the capabilities get better and we learn ourselves how to leverage it better internally. And for QA, this means we need to really proactively keep on top of how we measure and validate the output of all those AI systems so we can help our engineering teams keep up with that quality demand. It means keeping an eye on the latest release from the many providers. There's new models almost every month now. Regularly exploring the latest tooling and repeatedly having a go at solving those problems that AI just wasn't quite capable of dealing with only a few short months ago. Most importantly, in my view, it means sharing our understanding of what quality means with AI in the mix. And this is no easy task in such a fast-moving space. So the go-to tool for assessing quality on the vast majority of AI features is evaluations. I'm sure most of you have heard of this. These are essentially tests you run in bulk to give you statistical confidence in how these non-deterministic AI systems will behave. Canva isn't in the robotics business, but imagine that same slight look of mistrust or concern of the man watching the robot do its thing. That's on our faces as we evaluate our AI features. Maybe one day AI or the guardrails we build around it will be reliable enough we can trust the outputs, but it is not there yet. I see evaluations as yet another quality tool in our QA toolbox, rather than a special task to be left solely in the hands of the machine learning experts or the AI engineers. So we need to be able to explore, test, and communicate whether the excellent user experiences we want from our AI features behave as expected out in the wild, or with different AI models, system instructions. There's endless other inputs that keep going into these things. And AI's non-deterministic nature is central to this. We can't provide clear pass or fail results without an understanding of the stats behind it. And our very definition of what a pass or fail is constantly expanding to include more and more parameters. And this is particularly as the world moves into this agentic space of AI taking multiple actions with multiple systems involved, all on the behalf of the user. And I see this as a key space where we, as QA professionals, have the expertise and the mindset to provide so much value in understanding your problem space, whatever that may be, with AI, and what that end-to-end experience looks like, edge cases and all. Now, the quality assistance we provide at Canva isn't just limited to assisting engineers. The wider the range of people we can bring an understanding of quality to, the better our products are going to be. And evaluations are an excellent space to drive this democratization. We allow roles like product, design, and user experience to first understand how their AI systems behave, how they can measure the quality of those features, and then they can iterate on them themselves. And this has been an enormous quality and delivery unlock made possible through our self-serve evaluation platforms. And as an example of how QA guidance can be made more accessible with the power of AI, we have recently released the Canva MCP server. So MCP, Model Context Protocol, is a standard for giving AI access to tools, and it's supported in many AI clients like Claude and ChatGPT. And from an engineering perspective, these are really neat because most of the magic in how you get the AI to use the tools is plain old English. really simple for non-technical people to understand and update, but quite tricky to adjust in such a way that it's going to work for all the different LLMs, all the different clients, all their different models, system instructions, the like quirks of the client. You want to make sure you're working with the personality of the LLM rather than fighting it. And so the usual workflow for this sort of thing would be maybe product or someone would use the MCP in a client. And here I've asked Claude to make some flyers for a dog walking business and move them into a new folder. Maybe they spot some behavior they don't like, or they just want to capture this as a regression evaluation case. Then they could go to engineering and ask them to maybe reword the tool or just save that as a test case so that they could run some evaluations on. But in this case, all the information we need for an evaluation is actually right there in the chat. We have the user prompt, we have our tool responses, and we have the tools themselves. So why not bring our QA evaluation guidance and tooling into that exact same space where our users, who are our engineers and product and everyone else, can just talk through what they'd like to change and evaluate. And we can do this by making yet another MCP tool that bakes our guidance on what an MCP evaluation needs to cover. So, how to change the tool description, how to run an evaluation, what different models you want to run across. And then it can spit the results right back out in the same client. So you've got the power of that LLM sitting there, understanding all of that, and you can just talk through what you want to do. And if it isn't clear, great, ask it a question and it'll help you through that. Right. It's not just AI features that are benefiting from AI and QA. Our deterministic products don't escape the impact either. Over to you, Luke.
Thanks, Joe. Yeah, that's right. So what we're seeing now is more and more engineers are adding AI into their ways of working. Engineers are using AI for code generation, refactoring, writing tests. It's becoming a part of the everyday toolkit being used. Put simply, AI is changing how we build, not just what we build. And that's great. Teams are moving faster, ideas are being explored more freely, and the barrier to experimenting with code is much, much lower. I've seen designers build completely functional prototypes during Canva's hackathon. Previously, they never felt comfortable with code. As QA, though, we know that speed and safety need to move together. With AI assisting in the build process, we start seeing these subtle shifts in how determinism plays out. Code that's functionally correct might be slightly different from what a human would write, or it could carry hallucinations of your business rules that are otherwise unseen. Even when talking about deterministic or rule-based systems, the path to this consistency of the past is now influenced by LLMs or non-deterministic systems. That's why we think quality matters more now than ever, even if your feature or product doesn't directly integrate with AI. While quality of a product is a shared responsibility, we are the experts to help drive these efforts in keeping that confidence high, not just in what's being built, but how it's being built. This means keeping keen eyes on code and ensuring that our coverage and intent on those changes are aligned. Gatekeeping tests against flakiness, ensuring teams treat AI like just another dependency. Powerful, but not immune to scrutiny. Our challenge now becomes ensuring that as engineers move fast with AI, quality continues to move with them, not behind them. Another big advantage we have now is how much faster it's become to build these internal tools. And this is still accelerating as we speak. We've reached a point where anyone can prototype and ship small, useful tools in a matter of hours or days, not weeks. These projects start small typically, but they can make a huge impact because they remove friction and let teams focus on building with confidence. AI can make it even easier to explore ideas like auto-analyzing test results to find flaky or low-value tests, suggesting better test coverage for newly committed code, or generating data and documentation automatically. The point I'm making is internal tooling isn't just for developer productivity anymore. It can absolutely be a quality multiplier. And as QA engineers, we're in the perfect position to spot where quality can be improved and use AI to make it happen and make it happen fast. Here at Canva, it's led to some pretty great examples. A platform for collaborative test sessions, integrating our Jira instance and AI to help make issue triage as easy as possible. A QA-led MCP playground for creating and running workflows, allowing users to run them in Claude with auditability. A platform for making these LLM evaluations easier to create and run, allowing non-technical stakeholders to be involved in evaluations, be it creating or running them without getting bogged down with the code internals. The key part that we find with all of these tools is that they've started small and were targeted in the friction that they were looking to solve. Another example of how we've used AI as QA at Canva was running audits on our manual testing efforts. We spent some time building analysis systems that would read months of reports and surface high skip rates or consistent pass streak candidates. With this information, we fed it through a recommendation pipeline to provide suggestions on deprioritizing or completely removing specific tests. Now, the LLMs don't have the context of our business or its needs or the complexities that users may face. So instead of blindly accepting these suggestions, we've always maintained a human in the loop. We provide these signals to the code owners to make the decision. Through this QA-led initiative alone, we were able to reduce our manual tests by over 30% in just 12 weeks. Joe, back over to you.
Thank you, Luke. Right, on to the future. I'm sure this is a question many of you have wondered about. Where does our profession go with all of these incredible new capabilities coming through? AI is the biggest technological change we've seen so far, and it's only going to keep scaling from here. With AI tooling, we can bring wider and deeper test coverage, faster feedback loops, and chase down insights that were previously too expensive to dedicate a person to figuring out. And we can do all of that at an impossible scale. In Canva's case, you can imagine the amount of logs our 260 million monthly users generate. So addressing production quality issues reported by users and monitoring at scale is already a really big task. But with AI, we may be able to identify and act on issues discovered by the users who don't bother to report them, or for bugs that don't happen often enough to trigger our normal alerting. Our craft and the guidance we produce is more consumable than ever before, with AI there to help understand and step users through what they need. And this can be as simple as helping pre-fill a release readiness checklist by pulling data from a range of systems without needing internal tooling built to do that, or as complex as we've shown in this, as guiding a non-technical user through how to create and run an evaluation scenario where they can explore completely changing a toolset or response payload, stuff that would have previously been out of reach for anyone but the engineers. For many companies, I think that initial win will come from AI taking on more of the repetitive quality busy work, and that should free up our time to be spent better elsewhere. Thinking of the bigger picture, strategizing for that new project around the corner, and of course, continually learning how the latest model update or flash new AI tool can be used to keep speeding up that cycle. This is such an exciting time to be a quality expert. Like there's just this AI-powered world of possibilities in our craft at our fingertips. We just have to reach out and embrace it. And of course, if you're on the pessimistic side of the AI fence, then you know there's going to be plenty of AI work, plenty of QA work needed to keep on top of all that AI slop. So we're going to win either way. It's going to be good. That is us. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Some really nice notes on how even if you haven't got an AI-heavy product, quality still matters. And also for our engineers or engineers who are watching the stream, a nice note on how AI will be changing the landscape, but there's still going to be plenty for them to do to get on top of the AI slop. Fantastic. We do have some questions, and as I'll give you a little break, Joe, I'll pose the first one to Luke. So, Luke, what unique challenges do you face when testing generative AI features compared to traditional features?
It's a really good question. The biggest shift that I've seen is that we can't just test for correctness anymore. With traditional features, we have a fairly clear pass or fail criteria. The button either works or it doesn't. With Gen AI features, we're testing things like, does this feel appropriate for the prompt that was passed in? We at Canva have had to develop entirely new testing approaches around quality ranges rather than binary output. We're dealing with non-deterministic behavior, so the same input might give slightly different outputs. And honestly, if we think about the edge cases, they're pretty endless. Users will always find creative ways to use the tools that we never anticipated. That's only more so found with Gen AI features. As QA engineers, again, we've had to completely rethink our strategy. We're no longer necessarily writing, like I said, binary test cases. We're now writing evaluation criteria. You know, the output should be contextually appropriate, like I said, provided a prompt. Like Joe kind of pointed to, we're looking more so at statistical validation. So instead of one test passing meaning success, we're running multiple eval cases to understand the distribution of output. Automation frameworks need to evolve. We're building evaluation suites that can assess quality at scale rather than just check in exact matches.
Thank you. That was a really good in-depth answer, and I like how you were talking specifically about how AI is changing stuff and giving a really good clear comparison with what's there, but there's still edge cases to look out for and consider into that. Our next question.
Yes, I do have the next question, and I would say that it's both for you, Luke, and for you, Joe. And I'm especially interested in this one as a QA. You know that AI is changing QA testing globally. So, what advice would you give to both engineers and developers looking to adapt and not get left behind during the industry-wide change?
I'll claim this one. I would say embrace it. Dive right in and learn how you can work with it with a healthy dose of skepticism on the side. We are past the point of these LLM advancements being useful enough to get some valuable work out of them. So I don't see it reversing. Even if capabilities plateau right now, it's too late. AI is here to stay. It's going to be there. We're going to be using it. I only started picking it up about a year ago, having had no AI experience before, but just, yeah, getting into it and using it more, you really quickly, I don't know, learn how exciting it can be to apply it to your craft. I know a lot of companies out there are still holding off, and that can be tough if you're not learning how to use these tools on the job. But there are a lot of really good free options to have a play around with outside of work. I don't use AI for QA in my spare time, but I've got a lot of hobbies that suddenly I can do a whole lot more with thanks to AI. And that's been a really good way to get like incentivized and excited by what the tools can do. It is moving really quickly, so you can't keep up with all of it in depth. But I'd say, yeah, pick a space that interests you, and go and see what you can do. And try the agentic coding tools like Claude Code, AMP, Codex, Gemini, CLI. They're just a big step up above the normal chat interface that you might be used to.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your answer. I guess I have some homework to do after the conference. Thanks. Moving to the next question.
Yeah, so many businesses are trying to integrate AI and machine learning into the apps as fast as possible. But do you think there could be any complications that arise from moving too fast? And this is a question to either of you. Joe claimed the last one. Maybe Luke wants to claim it, but maybe Joe also has something to say here.
Before Joe does steal it, I am going to steal this one. From a QA perspective, the rush to ship AI, I think, can create a dangerous gap between deployment speed and quality maturity. The challenge is that traditional QA practices don't directly translate. We can't just apply existing test frameworks or tests to these generative features. I personally think there's healthy urgency, and then there's reckless speed. The teams that I've seen succeed are the ones that move fast on experimentation, but slow down when critical decisions need to be made. Things like, what quality guardrails do we need? How are we going to monitor for degradation in production? What does our rollback strategy look like when things go sideways? If a, you know, LLM provider rolls out a model and it starts behaving differently, what's our rollback? The the complications that can arise, uh, like they're fairly significant. How are we going to write test cases for something completely non-deterministic? How do we then automate those quality checks, especially for things like creative outputs? It's hard, right? Again, what I've seen work is building testing capabilities in parallel with our AI features, not as an afterthought. And I know I'm preaching to the choir with like a version of TDD, but it's super important. What that means now is investing in evaluation frameworks as early as possible, training QA teams and engineering teams on these new testing paradigms, accepting that velocity may be slower initially while we build out this foundation. Again, just speaking to my experience, the most successful approaches involve QA working closely with our machine learning engineers from day one, not getting brought in at the end. Shift left doesn't change just because AI is here. We need to be a part of defining what quality means, even for these features. I think especially for these features.
Thank you. That's good. I also enjoyed the surprise third guest we had on screen. Valuable input there as well. We have one more question from this, and then we have some audience ones as well.
Yes, we do. Yeah, coming back to combining the AI tools and their testers' experience, with the rise of the AI tools, some are saying that it's allowing testers and engineers to focus more on the human side of the work. I would like to know, what is your take on this opinion?
So I see it as AI is letting us delegate the busy work and compress the technical exploration that used to happen off in isolation. So we can now test ideas and validate approaches in real time, which makes for way more exciting meetings than previously. It all, in theory, gives us more time to focus on that like collaborative problem solving, understanding your stakeholder needs, your strategic thinking about what we should build, and making those judgment calls about risk and trade-offs that we don't want AI doing for us now. I think it will end up in a lot more meetings, but to me, that's the human part of it, right? Is when you're working collaboratively with other people, not when you're off by yourself doing something. As we said in the presentation, it also makes knowledge sharing a whole lot easier. And so I have found that's a really awesome space to be bringing AI in, and it's so rewarding in how it makes it so much easier to share your expertise and get concepts across to a wider audience. And finally, for me as a manager, I have a technical background, and I'm really enjoying that this AI stuff lets me do some technical work on the side. So, the human part of my work for me is feeling that I'm keeping up on the tools, and this is great. I can have a little prototype ticking away on the side that it's vibe engineering some cool new tool, and I can still keep up with everything else I'm doing. So, yeah, more time for collaboration, learning, sharing, and also dabbling in that interesting stuff on the side. It's just so exciting. It's a really neat time to be looking into these tools in our craft.
Fantastic. I like the enthusiasm. From our audience, this isn't a question, but we do have some lovely feedback for you, specifically for Luke. Luke, I love the details about the things to watch out for and not trading quality with quantity and speed. So the audience is very fond of you for that. Thank you. They enjoyed that message. We do have one message you might be able to answer. It is, why does AI written code still feel taboo, even as it's becoming more normal in the process? Any thoughts on why some people are still a bit like, ooh, it's a bit about the AI code that is written?
I think new things are always going to be taboo. I think AI specifically is maybe a little bit more like it's still hitting this taboo. And I get it. I think we see it a lot in the creative industry. and there are thoughts around that. But why does it feel still taboo, even if as it becomes normal? I think that's the same for any new thing, right? A new language comes along and it's oh, why are you writing it in that language over this language? Like, I think it's something that we see in technology a lot, and I think we're going to continue to see it even with AI, or as AI becomes the new norm, the next new thing is going to be taboo.
That's true. I think also it's something you mentioned in your presentation. It's sometimes good to have a healthy degree of skepticism. Maybe that leads into it being taboo, but that skepticism can lead through to people not fully trusting. Because again, as you said, it's new. People aren't familiar with it, but as it gets used more and more, that will probably fade as people begin to trust it more, and some of their skepticism is proven false, and then they start to integrate it into their normal workflows. We have an additional one, which was, have you attempted to evaluate the benefits of AI in QA in concrete numbers? Like, is there any specific KPI maybe you're using to say, yes, AI is fantastic for this, it's freed up some time for our engineers, or how do you evaluate how effective it is?
That is not the first time that we have had this question. It's much easier to measure it per project that you are then applying AI to, So you have a process that you used to do manually or the other way. Cool, you slap AI on it, you can get some stats really easily. It is a really tricky problem to go wider than that and to say, well, how does this, what percentage of efficiency are we gaining across the team? We don't have a solution for that yet. So it does tend to be where you can apply it on quite a focused problem space, you can go and do that. If anyone in the audience has ideas on how to do that at an organizational or team level, I am all ears.
Another one, and this might be a fun one for you to reminisce on. As you've mentioned, the skepticism, but you should go out there, you should get involved in AI, you should play with it. Do you have any maybe funny stories, or looking back at a time when you tried AI and you were maybe surprised, or something funny happened, or just recollecting back and a bit of nostalgia there, and what it was like when you were experimenting with AI, and something that was like, oh, well.
I went and played with the Playwright MCP when that came out, so you can drive the browser from your AI client, and that was when I had first started using Claude Code. And Claude Code is awesome, very powerful, but it can sit there being very powerful off at a terminal window somewhere else. And I was exploring running it in headless mode, and so you don't have much control over it in that mode. And it was trying to go and open a browser and do some testing when I realized that it wasn't quite doing what I wanted. And so I closed the browser instance thinking, great, that ends the test. Everything will be fine. No, pretty persistent, it turns out. It thought, well, the browser crashed. I'm going to try again and again and again. And then, you know what? Maybe it's Canva that's the problem. Let's go test these other random sites. And so this horrible moment of frantically killing browser windows until you could find and kill the Claude Code process. So yes, it is very cool. There are fun stories like that. I'm sure there are lots of people that have also accidentally deleted all of their local files. So, be safe when you're playing with these things.
Be safe, but don't stop playing with these things. You wouldn't have that funny story, you wouldn't have that experience had you not gone out there and given it a test run and given it a whirl. Thank you so much. That is about, sadly, all the time we have for all our questions from the audience. There was some more, but we have a next speaker lined up. So I'd like to thank you for joining us today. You had some incredible answers to our questions and an incredible presentation. And we'll probably send you a follow-up in the future and hear from you again. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Bye.